is respect for standards, in particular sustainability standards. Ana Paula.
Thank you, and good morning, everyone. Microphone for the speaker, please. Good morning, everyone. We at Rainforest Alliance have been around for close to 29 years, and we're all working to conserve biodiversity and ensure sustainable livelihoods by transforming land use practices, business practices, and consumer behavior. There are about 350 members of our staff spread globally, working with hundreds of local partners in achieving this mission. Next. This is our motto, our market-based motto of market catalyzed conservation, utilizing standards, certification, market linkages, and smallholder focused technical assistance. We have been able to transform the norms and practices of key global commodity value chains, including those of coffee, banana, teas, other fruits. There are about 50, there are really 100 crops. The Sustainable Agriculture Network is working with 50 being more active than not. And today, almost 6% of the world's coffee, 5.5% of bananas, 15% of the tea, 14% of the cocoa are coming from this Rainforest Alliance supported sustainable production, covering 3 million hectares of land and impacting. We're working with over 1 million farmers in like in agriculture, about 50 to 60 countries. And much of this growth has taken place over the last 5 years. Next. So really the aim here is to support and improve practices on the ground, aiming at healthier farmers and healthier landscapes. There are about roughly 10 principles, and they range from environmental to social issues, economic issues, local law compliance, etc. That then there are about 100 criteria and hundreds of indicators that auditors check when visiting a farm. But you can see here some of these the focused issues on water systems, forests, waste management, housing for workers, protection of biodiversity, health, school, and a number of issues that we are hoping to improve through our work. And now with the New York Declaration of Forests, we are looking to help companies, governments meet their commitments. Next. This is a study done by Côte, an independent study from 2011, where we looked at about 117 Rainforest Alliance certified farms versus 135 or so control farms. And the outcome was exciting to see that on average yields on certified farms were 70% higher than those of non-certified farms. And through that, the average revenue earned by certified farmers was about 72% higher than that of non-certified farmers. So this is one example of what we want to achieve in as many places as possible. And we see, working globally, that you can find some exciting results or outcome of the work in places like like this on this specific issue, and some other very exciting biodiversity impact in some other areas, and other impact about water that is really exciting. What we need to do is, how do we take this example here? This does not mean that in every Rainforest Alliance certified farm, productivity is increasing at 70%. So how do we exchange knowledge, lessons learned, and information? And we feel like the Bluenumber is a really exciting step forward toward putting all farmers, especially smallholders, on the map, so that exchange of information from them to them becomes easier, and extension services and other efforts that can help them achieve the increased productivity and these various goals can be achieved easier. Next, please.
And last but not least, Puban Selvananath. He is the head of the ITC office in New York, previously with the UN Global Compact. He knows all about the Blue Numbers Initiative, together with Joe Bosniak to my left, because they are a bit the brains that have thought a little bit about this. Puban.
Thank you, Aranja. Thank you to so many in this room who've helped us to get to this point. I think I'm going to just expound on what Miguel has said. The Bluenumber Initiative, of course, at its very core is an identification system, but the way that we're looking at it here across the UN agencies is it's an infrastructure for food systems and for food security. If you want to fly millions of planes through the air, somebody's got to be controlling air traffic. If you want to put millions of cars and buses on the road, somebody's got to write the rules as to how people drive, how people behave with each other. You know, this idea of the Bluenumber Initiative essentially sets a condition of infrastructure, and that's how people should be looking at it. It's not a certification system, it's not a standard, it's infrastructure that allows for certification and standards to happen. Next, please. So, our food systems today, I believe, are basically half a bridge. Supply chains, they look at efficiencies, they look at standards, they look at consumer expectations, but it's usually engineered from the demand side. And when we start looking at this bridge, all the costs accrue to either the consumer or the producer. And also, we don't really know where this bridge is going to land. If we ask today different certification bodies, we ask different standards, different countries, they all have a different place as to where this bridge should land. Next, please. So, my daughter helped me prepare this slide. So what we see here is, you know, the string line, the top line, the blue line here that actually gives us the direction of the bridge is what's been agreed here over the last couple of days. It's about government policy until 2030. It gives governments a direction. The SDGs allow governments to think in the framework of some bigger picture ideas. The Bluenumbers is about farmers being able to build the bridge from the other side to meet where industry has been over the last 20 to 30 years. It allows for us to start looking bottom up. It allows for us looking horizontally, all these wonderful words that actually mean something now because we have the means to do it, because Bluenumbers allow people to take action by themselves to say, okay, I want to come and meet the certification bridge. I don't need to wait for somebody to fly out from Denmark or from Netherlands to come and see where I am. I'm going to put myself onto this map first. Now, the important thing about this bridge on the other side, which is by farmers sharing their own data, is that it is supported by every SDG indicator and metric that you will be able to read today, the 169 indicators, the 17 global goals, as they're now called as of Friday, as opposed to the SDGs. All of those aspects are built into what we would expect for the farmers to share and to express as their needs. They can say, I want this thing, I'm not having it in my area, how can I get it? They are basically volunteering themselves to become part of the global food system. And the pillar on the other side is that the neutral oversight by the UN system means that every agency in the UN system is there to help the farmer, is there to help the companies, is there to ensure that we can help by telling you this is what the governments may be moving towards. No government today, except for Colombia, probably is advanced in this aspect, has actually been able to match the SDG indicator set to what a community requires. Over the next 2 to 3 years, this is what governments are going to be doing. Agricultural policy for the next 2 to 3 years is how do we make these indicators happen? We as the UN system will be able to help companies in that journey to make sure they're at the right tables, listening to how governments are making these policies happen. Next, please. This is just a historical thing. There's a new and an old here. At the bottom, it used to be that agriculture led to industry, industry led to services. This was the economic development of the planet, the world. This is how the World Bank thought about things in the 1980s. On one side, there was a solid bubble, which was business. Never should it ever meet government. It was on the other side of industrial regulation. Everybody was kind of not connected. This is the old way of doing things because we didn't have ICT, we didn't have Facebook, we didn't have Twitter, we didn't have social media. The new way of doing things is that that whole stuff, all of that is just in the middle somewhere and it's all conflated. Customers and farmers and so forth, they don't care if you're a business, if you're a government, because that might be the only thing that they see. Certification might be equivalent to regulation, who knows? All they're talking about is how do I get my product from here to there? Is it a government law? Is it a national requirement? Is it international foreign? I don't care. Tell me what I need to do. Tell me how I can access the skills, the capacity building, the extension services. How do I get from here to there? And this link between agriculture and consumer and the market is so much more direct today. And it goes through all of these things in the middle, and all of those things in the middle are transparent to each other. You can no longer hide behind, I'm a government, I'm a regulation. It doesn't work that way anymore. So this is the new pattern for development. Just to expound on this, and I'll close with this, I think for too long agriculture has essentially been defined by very extractive models. Extractive political institutions, extractive economic processes. But this is not evil. It's just the way that we've been able to do things up to now. There's no malicious intent. It was just the best way we could do things. But as I said before, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, these services today reach hundreds of millions of people, and that number is just growing. Many of these hundreds of millions of people are actually farmers. If you go into many economies today, emerging economies, they use Facebook as a tool on how to share practices and how to do things. So, farmers themselves use Facebook, but farmers are also consumers. If we look at the ASEAN region, which we'll be talking about shortly, that bulk of people are the same people who are then going to go out and buy the shampoos, going to buy all the other things, going to drive the economy. Farmers have knowledge, and what they want is opportunities for themselves, for their families, and for their communities. And they want to share this knowledge, and Bluenumbers is actually aligned for this to happen. So they will and they will want to share their information, because that process, the Bluenumbers, opens the gates for them to participate. I hope that this actually conveys the idea that it's infrastructure. Gates, roads, think that.
Thank you very much, Pooban. Thank you for